Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotada Satashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Canto 10, Chapter 47, Text 14. Kim iha bahu sadangre gayasi tvam yadunam. Bahu sadangre gayasi tvam yadunam. Adhipatim agranam agrato na puranam. Vijaya Saka Sakinam Giyatam Tat Prasanga. Kshapi Takucha Rujaste Kalpayantishtamishta. Kim iha bahu sadangre gayasi tvam yadunam. Adhipatim agranam agrato na puranam. Vijaya Saka Sakinam Giyatam Tat Prasanga. Kshapita Kucha Rujaste Kalpayantishtamishta. Kim iha bahu sadangre gayasi tvam yadunam. Adhipatim agranam agrato na puranam. Vijaya Saka Sakinam Giyatam Tat Prasanga. Kshapita Kucha Rujaste Kalpayantishtamishta. Kim iha bahu sadangre gayasi tvam yadunam. Adipatim agranam agrato na puranam. Vijaya Saka Sakinam Giyatam Tat Prasanga. Shapita kucha rujaste kalpayantishtamishta. Kim iha bahu sad angre gayasi tvam yadunam. Adipatim agranam agratona puranam. Vijaya saka sakinam giyatam tat prasanga. Shapita kucha rujaste kalpayantishtamishta. Kim, why? Iha, here. Bahu, much. Sat angre, OB, 6-footed one. Gayasi, are singing. Tvam, you. Yadunam, of the Yadus. Adhipatim, about the master. Agrihanam, who have no home. Agrataha, in front of. Na, us. Puranam, old. Vijaya, of Arjuna. Saka, of the friend. Sakinam, for the friends. Giyatam, should be sung. Tat, of him. Prasanga, the topics. Kshapita, relieved. Kucha, of whose breasts. Rujaha, the pain. Te, they. Kalpayanti, will provide. Ishtam, the charity you desire. Ishtaha, his beloveds. Translation. O B, why do you sing here so much about the Lord of the Yadus in front of us homeless people? These topics are old news to us. Better you sing about that friend of Arjuna in front of his new girlfriends, the burning desire in whose breasts he has now relieved. Those ladies will surely give you the charity you are begging. Please repeat. O B, why do you sing here so much about the Lord of the Yadus in front of us homeless people? These topics are old news to us. Better you sing about that friend of Arjuna in front of his new girlfriends, the burning desire in whose breasts he has now relieved. Those ladies will surely give you the charity you are begging. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. With the words Agrihanam Agratona, Radharani laments that even though she and the other gopis gave up their homes to love Krishna in a conjugal relationship, the Lord left them and became a prince in the great royal city of the Yadus. Besides meaning Arjuna, the victor, the word Vijaya also directly indicates Sri Krishna, who is always victorious in his endeavors. And besides meaning old news, the word Puranam also indicates that Sri Krishna is glorified in the ancient Vedic scriptures of that name. In this verse, we observe in Radharani's mood the seed of jealous anger, which arises from an apparent disdain for Krishna, accompanied by a sarcastic sidelong glance directed toward him. Thus, this verse fits the following description of Vijalpa from the Ujjvala Nilamani 14.186. Vyaktya suyaya guda manamudrantaralaya aghavdvishi katakshotir vijalpo vidusham mataha. According to learned authorities, vijalpa is sarcastic speech that is addressed to the killer of Agha, and that openly expresses jealousy while at the same time hinting at one's angry pride. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swamiti Namane. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatharine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshra Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamshra He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, please bless that I can speak on this. This is highly elevated topics that I feel really unqualified to speak on, but somehow we've gotten the opportunity. So here we're seeing Srimati Radharani is it okay? Yeah? Okay. So here Srimati Radharani is talking to the bumblebee. Uddhava is sitting there about to give the message to Krishna, and Radharani is a little bit distant away, and she is in this ecstatic mood of bewilderment. It's called divyomada. It's the ecstasy of divine madness and bewilderment. It's the highest ecstasy of prema, the love that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna. Srimati Radharani, she is exhibiting these highest levels of ecstasy. And the symptoms of Divyonmada, they appear and disappear. And one of the characteristics is this Chitra Jalpa, which Maharaj you've been speaking on. And each of these verses is representing a different type of that Chitra Jalpa, which is bewildered, incoherent speech. It's one of the symptoms of this highest ecstasy of love for Krishna. And these mad talks are induced by seeing a friend of a beloved. That's what the definition of Chitra Jalpa. And it's filled with 10 types of covered anger. And ultimately, these talks culminate in anxious eagerness for loving Krishna, for meeting Krishna. So Radharani's, these talks here are they're out of this highest level of love for Krishna, and it's just showing the emotions are just coming out just by these talks. We can see the flow of these emotions. And Uddhava is observing this, and he is becoming completely kind of overwhelmed by this because he's not experienced this. The love that the Yadus have for Krishna is different and not as highly developed as the love of the Vrajavasis have for Krishna. So he's becoming completely overwhelmed, and Krishna sent him there to learn about this Vraj Prema, which is the highest love for Krishna. So before reading the commentaries, there's some commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. I just wanted to meditate a little bit about Srimati Radharani, because these topics are beyond what we can comprehend at least at my state. But I can offer obeisances to these topics and pray that, that some of that love for Krishna will come in my heart, and that I can somehow serve in these topics in whatever way I can. But the Srimati Radharani, just to understand a little bit about her love for Krishna, it helps for us to understand a little bit about this mood that she's exhibiting here. So I was looking at Adi Lila, chapter 4, which explains Krishna Das Kaviraj is the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one thing that I admire so much about Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is that he lays out the Siddhanta so well before he even gets to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, so that we really have this base ground level of understanding, so that when we enter these pastimes, we can enter in the correct mood. So in chapter 4, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains about Srimati Radharani. So he starts off by explaining that Krishna is is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all pleasure. He's the Supreme Lord. Now he expands himself as Srimati Radharani, and she is a manifestation of his Ladini potency. So Ladini means his pleasure potency, to enjoy transcendental pleasure. So to enjoy pleasure, Krishna is self-sufficient. He's Atma Rama. He doesn't need anything to give him pleasure. But he wants an exchange of love. And that can only happen when there's at least two people, right? So he expands himself as Srimati Radharani, who is a manifestation of his potency of pleasure. So Radha and Krishna, in one way, they are one and the same, but they have assumed two bodies. There's a verse from Brahma Samhita that Lord Brahma explains. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabhis tabirya eva nijarupataya kalabi goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuto govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency Ladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. So Krishna is residing with Srimati Radharani, who resembles his own spiritual figure, but who embodies the ecstasy of Ladini. And all of her expansions, Radharani's expansions, are the gopis and the Lakshmis. So in one way, Radha and Krishna are the same person, and yet they're two different personalities. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says it's like fire and heat. In one way, they're the same, and at the same time, they're different. So Radharani is a transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy, called Ladini. And I really liked how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains what Ladini is. He says Ladini is the potency that gives pleasure to Krishna, and also it nourishes the devotees. And I was thinking how applicable that is for us, because we are all on this path, spiritual path, trying to come to pure love for Krishna. And who is the personality that will nourish us on this path? And that is Srimati Radharani, because she is the personification of this Ladini potency of Krishna. So she will nourish us, she will guide us in developing that pure love for Krishna. So Krishna is self-sufficient, and he doesn't need anything, of course, but he's attracted by devotional service only. So the essence of the Ladini potency is love for Godhead, and that love for Krishna is manifest through bhavas, ecstatic emotions that we're seeing here, like Srimati Radharani is exhibiting all these ecstatic emotions. And the highest development of all those ecstatic emotions is called Mahabhav. And that is only seen in Srimati Radharani. She is the highest repository of these ecstatic emotions for Krishna. So therefore, she is the crest jewel of all Krishna's consorts. So Radharani, the name Radha actually means she eternally is the topmost mistress of the comforts of Sri Krishna. So she is the topmost mistress of the comforts for Sri Krishna. And Prabhupada explains that she is the medium of transmitting the living entity's service to Krishna too. So we can't serve Krishna directly. There's no way that we can serve Krishna directly. But if we go through Srimati Radharani, she transfers our service to Krishna. And devotees, therefore, in Vrindavan, if you go to Vrindavan, you'll see that all the devotees go through Srimati Radharani before they approach Krishna in order to be recognized by Krishna. Radharani's mind, her senses, her body are all seeped with love for Krishna. And actually in one of the purports, Prabhupada says, her body, mind, and senses fully shine in love for Krishna. I like that description. They're shining in love for Krishna. And because she's the personification of the Ladini Shakti, she's the only source of enjoyment for Krishna. Another name for Radharani is Sarvakanti, which means she fulfills all the desires of Krishna. So Krishna enchants the whole world, but she can enchant Krishna by her pure love. Now in this chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj talked about the difference between love and lust. And we've heard this a few times in the classes this week, because it's so important to be reminded of this, that Maharaj was also mentioning yesterday that we tend to project our limited conceptions into these high elevated topics. So it's very important to remind ourselves there's completely diametrically opposed things, love and lust. If you see a tree and then you see the reflection of the tree in the water, that's the difference. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that it's the difference between iron and gold, or the difference between dense darkness and bright sunshine. That's the difference between love and lust. So what is the definition? Lust is the desire to gratify my senses. And love is the desire to please Krishna's senses, prema. So anything that you see that's for my enjoyment, my sense enjoyment, that's called lust. And anything that's purely only for Krishna's enjoyment and pleasure is called prema. Atmendriya priti vansha tare balikam, Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premadam. So the gopis, they don't have any desires for their personal pleasure. Their pleasure is only to see Krishna happy. And in this way, there's kind of like a competition between the gopis and Krishna, because the gopis just want to give pleasure to Krishna. And Krishna becomes so happy to see their ecstatic love for him. And because he becomes happy, he becomes more beautiful. And they see Krishna's becoming more happy. And because of seeing them, that they become more beautiful and more blissful. So in this way, the competition of joy between Krishna and his beloved gopis increases and increases and increases. And even though the gopis don't have any desire for their own personal pleasure, still, amazingly, their joy is constantly increasing because of their love for Krishna. And then Krishna is thinking that, I am the Supreme Lord, I'm the Supreme Enjoyer, but there's something that Radharani is experiencing that I can't experience myself. Because Radharani is the highest abode of love for Krishna. It's called Ashraya in Sanskrit. And Krishna is the object of love. So he's called Vishaya. So the object of love can't taste what the reservoir of love can taste. It's just like if you have a block of sugar, the sugar cube can't taste its own sweetness. But somebody who's outside can taste the sweetness of the sugar. So Krishna can't taste his own sweetness. And he's seeing that Radharani is experiencing something that he can't experience. She's experiencing love for him, and he can't experience that himself. So he's thinking, the whole world is enchanted by me, by my flute song, by my beauty. But Radharani, I'm enchanted by Radharani, but she is so in love with me that I can't even imagine what she is feeling. When she hears two sticks of bamboo rubbing against each other, she thinks it's Krishna's flute song and she goes running after it. When she sees a tamal tree, which is a blackish, bluish tree, she thinks it's Krishna and she embraces the tree out of ecstasy. And when she smells something that smells like the fragrance of Krishna, she runs in the breeze. So she just goes completely in ecstasy. And Krishna's thinking, I want to experience that love. So at the end of that chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes a shloka from Rupa Goswami from the Chaitanyastaka, verse 3. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love possessed by one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. And so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So in desiring to experience the love that she experiences, he assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. And he tasted that love by hiding his dark complexion behind the effulgent yellow color. And he took her mood, Srimati Radharani's mood. So that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mother Krishna Priya was also mentioning in class that in order to enter these topics, we have to go through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because it's beyond what we can understand with our limited consciousness. But if we go through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we can enter into these topics. And while thinking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on these topics, I was remembering there's a section of Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Madhya Lila where the Rath Yatra pastimes are going on and that Hera Panchami festival is happening. And Lord Chaitanya and Swarup Damodar are having a conversation about that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what is this jealous anger that the goddess of fortune is showing? And Swarup Damodar explains, oh, this is just a little glimpse, the jealous anger of Vrindavan that you see. And then Lord Chaitanya says, can you explain more? And Swarup Damodar begins to explain. And I was reading this section because it relates to this verse, that here Srimati Radharani is exhibiting one of the Chitra Jalpa, and this one is called Vijalpa, which is sarcastic speech hinting at angry pride. It's like a seed of jealous anger is there. It's one of the 10 that we'll see in these verses. And jealous anger, we may think, oh, that's so bad, right? Like jealous anger. It's like in this world, it's the kind of really negative thing. But in the spiritual world, these are emotions that Srimati Radharani is exclusively using to please Krishna, to make Krishna's senses happy. So Swarup Damodar is explaining to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all about these ecstatic emotions. And he says, there's no flaw or adulteration in the love of the gopis. Therefore, they give Krishna the highest pleasure. And the gopis can be divided into a left wing and right wing. Both wings induce Krishna to taste transcendental mellows by various manifestations of ecstatic love. So there's different varieties of gopis also that show different moods to make Krishna's pastimes relishable for him. So there's the left-wing gopis. Of the left-wing gopis, Srimati Radharani is the chief, of course. And she's the jewel mine of ecstatic love. She's always deeply absorbed in ecstatic love, and she's always feeling in the mood of the left-wing gopi, which means that her womanly anger is always awakening, and all of this is just to increase Krishna's pleasure. And Swarup Damodar continued that Srimati Radharani's love is a highly advanced ecstasy. All her dealings are completely pure and devoid of material tinge. Indeed, her dealings are 10 times purer than gold. As soon as Radharani gets a chance to see Krishna, her body is suddenly decorated with various ecstatic ornaments. The various ornaments of Srimati Radharani's body include the 8 sattvikas, or transcendental symptoms, the 33 vyabhichari bhavas, beginning with harsha, or jubilation in natural love, and the 20 bhavas, or ecstatic emotional ornaments. Some of the symptoms critically explained in the following verses are Kila Kinchita, Kutamita, Vilasa, Lalita, Vivoka, Motayita, Mogtya, and Chakita. When Srimati Radharani's body manifests the ornaments of many ecstatic symptoms, the ocean of Krishna's happiness immediately displays transcendental waves. So that's a key point, that when Srimati Radharani is exhibiting all these ecstatic emotions, Krishna's happiness is increasing, and that's the reason why all these these kind of contradictory emotions are coming forth, like jealous anger, like this. It's all for Krishna's pleasure. It's something beyond what we can quite understand, but it's something that we can offer obeisances to, and pray that someday we can come to these high realizations. So now understanding, I just wanted to kind of, at least for my purification, to understand the tattva of who Srimati Radharani is, and her mood of how it's so pure. Her love is pure. She's non-different from Krishna in one way, and she just, everything, her whole existence is just for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, and the ecstatic emotions she exhibits also is all for Krishna's transcendental pleasure. So keeping that in mind, we can read the commentaries of the acharyas on this verse. So the first commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is, seeing the bee constantly buzzing due to his nature, Radha thought, agitated by my criticism, he is singing his own glories. She then spoke, why are you singing this to us gopis? The songs of an ignorant bee will not please the gopis. Again and again you are singing, and as well, in those songs you are publicizing the glories of the leader of the Yadus. You are doing that in front of us, who were made by Krishna to give up our homes and are now sitting at the edge of the forest. We cannot give you even a fistful of chickpeas in charity. And the bee says, then just give me the old clothing and garlands from your body. And Radharani says, you are completely ignorant of this. I will not give you anything. Reciting the Puranas, you are trying to prove that Krishna is the Lord of the Yadus. O 6-legged creature, 1.5 times a normal 4-legged animal, 1.5 times more unintelligent. You do not know where you should sing. Being an animal, how do you know the Puranas? And how can you receive charity? But since you're an animal, we are not angry with you. We will give instructions on where you should sing to support your existence. You should sing in front of the girlfriends of that friend of yours who is preeminently victorious or defeated by them in the battle of love, Vijayasaka. You should sing all about those victories and defeat in love. Vijayasaka can also mean the friend of Arjuna, who is also known as Vijaya. Previously, Krishna was known as the friend of Subal, but after he left Vraja, he became known as the friend of Arjuna. Radha therefore refers to Krishna in the future. These women of Mathura, relieved of the pain of in their breasts, being respected by you, by your letting them hear your songs, will fulfill your desires. The second half of the verse shows indignation, concealing beneath deep-seated anger. In all of the verse, there are leering inferences, mocking Krishna. This is an example of Vijalpa. Leering statements directed toward Krishna with explicit envy, hiding within them signs of deep anger, are called Vijalpa, according to Ujjvala Nilamani. So we can see all this jealous anger, that's the emotions that are coming forth in this verse. Jiva Goswami writes, confused when Radha angrily brushed away the bee trying to touch her lotus feet, the bee came before her while humming. She then thought that the bee was profusely glorifying Krishna to please her. She began to wonder about other things in order to ignore the bee. "Oh bee, you sing because that is your nature as a bee. But why do you sing here in Vraja, full of grief? And why do you sing so much? He is the leader of unlimited persons of the royal order of Yadus in Mathura. Here in Vraja, the cowards are not respected by him. The Yadus, protected by him, depend for their life on him and thus praise him. They can supply him pleasure. The people of Vraja cannot please him. You should therefore sing in Mathura a lot or a little as you please." So she's saying, we can see this jealousy. Oh, he doesn't care about us in Vraja. You should go to the people he really cares about, the Yadus, and you can sing in front of them. "Animals have 4 feet. You have 6 feet. As an animal and a half, you sing with great lack of intelligence, without discrimination." This shows jealousy. But he is full of prema in Vraja. Vraja is the best place. This might be what the bee is saying. And the many pastimes he performed were done with deceit, she's saying. Or all that was done previously, long in the past. Or just as the word Krishna is made of Krish, existence, and Na, bliss, so Puranam can be made of Pura and Na. Previously Pura, Vraja was happy. Now there is only existence. Why do you sing in front of us and in Vraja, and so profusely? The gopis gave up their houses after being spoiled by him, since they were rejected by others after they once tasted the bewitching rasa of his leftover saliva. On the other hand, Mathura is your place for singing, since there resides his beloved women. You should sing in front of the girlfriends of your friend Krishna about what gives him happiness. Sing to Krishna, controlled by hundreds of city women, whom he attained on giving us up and becoming the leader of the Yadus. Respected by you and him, those women will quickly give you what you want, or they always remain doing what you want. Now, seeing our unhappy condition from afar, respected by you, those women who think they are respectable while you sing his glories will particularly fulfill all your desires, for the pangs of the desires in their breasts have been extinguished by Krishna. After they have suffered, people give abundant charity to panegyrists like you out of joy. She glances and laughs while showing boldness, envy, and crookedness. So I won't read Sanatana Goswami's, so because of lack of time. But here we can pray to Srimati Radharani, who's the embodiment of pure love for Krishna, that she can bring us to that eternal shelter of Krishna. She's a personification of the Ladini potency, that love for Krishna. So we can pray to her that, because she's the one who nourishes our bhakti, that she can infuse us with some little drop of love that we can offer devotional service to Krishna. And then I also just wanted to end with the reminder that, just for myself, that we need to go through the process that Srila Prabhupada has given us, because I think Maharaj was also mentioning about, we just need to follow in the footsteps of the great Vaishnavas like Srila Prabhupada, who are following in the footsteps of Sri Sri Gaura-Nitai. And by that process, then we may enter the understanding of these high topics. And try our best to please Srila Prabhupada by spreading it as this Krishna consciousness to others too. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Namasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Ako Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Namaho Vishnu Padai Krishna Prasnaya Mutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samanichi Namane Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Amaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Murmani Pacha Nivesesha Shunyavade Vasyachare Satarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Brahma Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Tata Siva Sade Narabranda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Goloka Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Goloka Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Goloka Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Goloka Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Jaya Jaya Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramacharya Shri Shrimad Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Vaishnava Namacharya Friends say, oh, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Swaita, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the Shri Goloka Shri Prabhupada Jai. Living beings, unless you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna, transcendental names, invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself, oh, either the star or the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is